After careful thought and my desire to retire our supremely selected president, I've decided to run as an independent candidate for president. And if you'll allow me to explain why, I'll give some of the reasons with elaboration coming on our website, votenader.org. First of all, this country has more problems and injustices than it deserves, and more solutions and good-willed people applying those solutions. That's because of the democracy gap. There's just too much power and wealth in too few hands, increasingly giant corporation hands who have no allegiance to our country or communities other than to control them or to abandon them. They have taken over Washington. There's massive media exposés documenting that in all the mainstream media. Washington is now corporate-occupied territory. There's a for sale sign on almost every door of agencies and departments where these corporations dominate and they put their appointments in high office. The Congress is what Will Rogers once called the best money can buy. Money is flowing in like never before that sells our elections. What does that mean to the American people? It means that corporations are saying no to the necessities of the American people. They're saying no to health insurance for everyone, no to tax reform, no to health and safety standards, no to stopping corporate welfare in the hundreds of billions, no to straightening out the defense budget, which is bloated and redundant, as many retired generals and admirals said, no to access to our courts. It's time for people to say yes, and we need more civic and political energies inside the campaign to challenge this two-party duopoly that's trending toward one-party districts all over the country.
Mr. Nader, as you know, this decision is going to upset a lot of people. The Nation magazine, an institution that you have had a close relationship with all your life, wrote this editorial. Ralph, this is the wrong year for you to run. 2004 is not 2000. The contest for an independent presidential bid is completely altered from 2000, when there was a real base for a protest candidate. The overwhelming mass of voters with progressive values have only one focus this year: to beat Bush. Any candidacy seen as distracting from that goal will be excoriated by the entire spectrum of potentially progressive voters. If you run, you will separate yourself, probably irrevocably, from any ongoing relationship with this energized mass of activists. Look around. Almost no one, including former strong supporters, is calling for you to run. Ralph, please think of long-term. Don't run. And we've been inundated with emails. There's a website that actually says www.ralphdon'trun.net. And I want to air this in its entirety for you to watch it, for the country to watch it, and then give you a full chance to respond. Let's watch.
The 2000 presidential race was the closest in American history. A swing of just 3 electoral votes anywhere in the country, and George Bush would never have become president. You can blame Gore's mistakes in the campaign, the Florida recount debacle, the Supreme Court intervention. But after all those events, one fact remains. Ralph Nader's candidacy tipped the balance to Bush. With just 1% of the votes cast for Ralph Nader, Gore wins Florida and the election. Netting a third of Nader's votes, Gore takes New Hampshire as well. The simple fact is, if Nader had not run, Gore would be president, not Bush. Today, Ralph Nader is thinking of running again, and he says he'll announce his plans in the next few weeks. This time, in 2004, the stakes are far too high. This time, we need Ralph Nader with us, not against us. Here's how you can help. Visit Ralph Nader's Exploratory Committee website and send the message. Ralph, please don't run.
There's real passion in that. What do you say to those people?
That's the liberal intelligentsia that agrees with almost all our positions. That is a contemptuous statement against democracy, against freedom, against more voices and choices for the American people. You'd never find that type of thing in Canada or Western democracies in Europe. It is an offense to deny millions of people who might want to vote for our candidacy an opportunity to vote for our candidacy. Instead, they want to say, no, we're not going to let you have an opportunity to vote for our candidacy. There are conservatives who are furious with Bush over the deficit, over corporate subsidies, over corporate pornography directed toward children, over the Patriot Act, over many other issues. And they may be looking for an independent candidacy. There are liberal Republicans who see their party taken away from them. They may be looking for an independent candidacy. There are 100 million non-voters that no one has figured out how to bring back into the electoral system, which I want to try to do. So I think the liberal intelligentsia has got to ask itself a tough question, Tim. For 25 years, they have let their party run away from them. For 25 years, they've let their party become a captive of corporate interests. And now they want to block the American people from having more choices and voices, especially young people who are looking for idealism, who are looking for a clean campaign, who are looking for the real issues in this country instead of the sham and the rhetoric that masquerades for political campaigning.
Democrats will say, Ralph Nader, in the end, it's a choice between George Bush and a Democrat. And you have to make a decision as to who would be better for this country. They point to Florida, and you heard the internet ad, and I'll show you the exact vote. Bush won by 537 votes, and you got 97,488. In New Hampshire, Bush won by 7,211. You got 22,000 votes. When you were on the program in January of 2002, I asked you a question, and here's your response. Let's watch. Having watched George W. Bush for a year, do you believe an Al Gore presidency would have been any different?
Well, it wouldn't have been any different in terms of military and foreign policy.
Do you believe that Al Gore would have invaded Iraq?
He would have. I think he was a hawk. He may have done it in a different way. He and Clinton got through Congress a regime change resolution as a pillar of our foreign policy. But let me answer the points you made. They're quite provocative. Any number of third-party candidates in Florida could have affected the equation the way you just described. Libertarians got thousands of votes. Buchanan got thousands of votes. Socialist Workers' Party got votes. The Florida campaign was won by Gore. It was stolen by Katherine Harris and Jeb Bush and their cohorts from Tallahassee to the Supreme Court. 250,000 registered Republicans in Florida voted for Bush. Let's not play the what-if game, because when they pick one what-if, my candidacy, the candidacy of Nader Ledoux, what they're doing is basically saying that third parties are second-class citizenship. And the civil liberties crisis affecting third parties and independent candidates, Tim, is very serious. Historically, that's where our reform has come from in the 19th century against slavery, women's right to vote, trade union, farmer, populist, progressive. Seeds have to be given a chance to sprout in nature. We call it springtime. Entrepreneurs have to be given a chance in the marketplace. Somehow, it's okay to have a two-party duopoly that is converging more and more, where the towering similarities dwarf the dwindling real differences that the Democrats are willing to fight over. Democrats better look at themselves. They better brag a little bit more, which they hardly do, about bringing Social Security and Medicare and environmental laws to the country. Before 25 years ago, they turned into a corporate paymaster minion.